So, Anita launched Threshold Housing First as a pilot back in 2015. So, explain to people who might not have come across it what the project is.
So it's a different way of working, responding to what are seen as problems. So it was the problem of women who offend, who have short-term custodial sentences and then come back out and they're homeless. Kind of lots of children being taken into care, causing lots of problems in society. And it was a way of responding to that hadn't worked with other interventions that had taken place. And it was looking at, we could test this model and see whether it did something to stop the reoffending. I don't stop talking about this once I've started, so do ask questions, because I just don't stop.
Well, I haven't had a toilet break, so... But back in 2015, I can't imagine you were getting a lot of support for this.
No, it has been tested in other countries, and it's been this model, this way of working, has been working in the States, and also Finland adopted it as part of their national homelessness strategy. But there hadn't been any other services that looked at whether women had unique experiences of homelessness or offending, and so it was the first time that this particular model had been used for women's issues.
So, how many women do you think your organisation has helped?
Well, using this particular model over the last 4.5 years, we've actually helped 77 women through the service. What it does is kind of, instead of all the different layers of, judging women around their offending or perhaps drug use or even some of the behaviours, judging them much more harshly than they judge men, what it does is suspend all that disbelief and say that as humans they have a right to a permanent roof over their head, and they have the right to be treated and the previous trauma of their lives recognised, and somebody to provide support rather than just layer after layer of judgment and sanction about them. And I can't stop talking about it. It has totally transformed. I thought I was working with a load of offenders, a load of women who offended, and actually I have been utterly humbled by the whole experience, because these are extraordinary women who've lived the most dreadful lives and have come through really, really brave, really powerful. They are just extraordinary. It's the most humbling thing I've ever done. But we haven't done that. They transformed their lives because of the way this model works.
I think that's the really scary thing at the minute, is that you sometimes think you take one step forward and 2 steps back. And even after being a journalist for 30 years, you would still occasionally pull yourself up, because you would judge a woman much harder than you would a man for a crime. And, even as a woman, you have to remind yourself sometimes, but for the grace of God go all of us.
Yeah. And I think that's been the biggest thing I've learned. The thing that's been most humbling is that I was one of those women, I think, who, even though I worked in this sector, I still would judge women, and we judge mothers more harshly, and we somehow expect different things of them. We punish them much more harshly for not being the type of women that we think we are, or the type of mothers that we think we are. But I'm stuck for words now, but they are just extraordinary.
Well, you're very inspirational. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. You've been interested in women in management, haven't you?
Yes, I have, Michelle, because there is, as we all know, still a very disparate sort of disparity in opportunities, pay, and our approach always from a people development point of view was to be inclusive, and more companies and women were saying, are you doing anything in this space? And I was saying, no, well, it should be open to all. But I did a lot of research, and I talked to lots of different companies, men and women. We ran some focus group meetings and saw that there was a real space to really help, particularly middle managers, to actually recognise how good they are at their jobs, and to go for the opportunities that present themselves and be the role models in their organisation. So it's been one of the proudest things I've done in my career, I have to say.
So it's not the system was holding them back, they were holding themselves back.
I think it's a combination of the two, because when some of our corporate clients were saying, we're losing all our middle managers, we're losing all this phenomenal talent, and I said there's a cultural issue and that needs to be addressed, but sometimes that's too big for them to embark on. So they sponsor women to come on our program that will go back in and mentor and share the learning and support other women in the organisation. And my hope is, we've been running it for four years now, that over time they'll start to influence that culture and challenge some of the paradigms and the processes that don't support women as much as they could do.
Could you have a go at getting a woman in number 10, please? Well, discuss. Maybe over pudding. Thank you very much. Thank you. For anyone who doesn't know, Sally is an award-winning practicing barrister, founder of Women in Law and Business in the UK, and champion of the Helena Morrissey 30% Club, encouraging 30% attainment of women on boards across the UK. Why only 30%?
Well, I'd rather have 100%, but that's just a small part of what I do. Sorry, I feel like I ought to be singing.
Anytime you like.
Gloria Gaynor, without the curly hair. Just before I say a bit about what I do, I'm really delighted to be a shortlist in these awards. I think in the past I've attended with our corporate women, the Naughty Table, and so I'm just honoured to be here among such great talented women here in the Northwest, and I wanted to stipulate that for the record. I am a practicing barrister, but I feel really nervous now.
I would too.
But I suppose what I'm about, I'm a minority woman practicing law, and I have been doing it for 20 years. And there are many women who look like me or sound like me, whether from minority backgrounds or different social mobility backgrounds, or just are women. And so I set up Women in the Law to try and combat that and achieve and increase the progression and diversity of women in the law and business, because I think actually factually we're 50% of the profession, of the country, the nation, but we're not 50% of the profession. Not my profession, is certainly not in businesses. So I think actually 30% is a target which is achievable, but I'd be happier if it was 90%. I've got 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter. Yeah, so I didn't want to sound as though I was men bashing or anything of that sort.
Oh no, you carry on.
But you did ask the question, so I'm answering it.
My lad.
So anyway,
Thanks. Bridge. I think we've found the Prime Minister.
no.